Some people are born lucky. Everything they do turns out great. All their geese seem like swans. All their cards are winners. No matter what happens, they always land on their feet. One of these lucky people was Hans, a neighbor. For 7 years, he worked hard for his boss on a big farm with green hills and oak trees. Stone fences lined the fields where wheat grew. Barns stood in the distance with red roofs. One night, he told his boss his time was up. He wanted to go home to see his mom. His boss said he had been a good worker, so his pay would be big. He gave Hans a chunk of silver as big as his head. Hans wrapped the silver in his handkerchief. He put it on his shoulder. He started walking home along a dusty dirt path through open meadows with wildflowers in yellow and purple. Hedges of green bushes bordered the path. Tall grasses grew along the edges. As he walked, a man rode up on a fine horse with a glossy brown coat and a flowing mane. The horse trotted along the same path where birds perched on branches. Hans said out loud how nice riding looked. The rider heard him. He suggested a trade, the horse for the silver. Hans agreed happily. The rider took the silver. He helped Hans onto the horse. He gave him the reins and a whip. He explained how to make it go fast. Hans rode off happily. He whistled and sang. The path curved through a wooded area with tall pine trees on both sides. Pine needles covered the ground in soft layers. Soon he wanted to go faster. He shouted, "Jip." The horse galloped forward. Its hooves pounded the earth and kicked up clouds of dust. Hans was thrown off into a puddle in a low spot beside the path. Muddy water pooled amid wet grass and stones. A shepherd leading a cow with a spotted black and white hide stopped the horse. They stood in a grassy clearing where wild herbs grew thick. A stream flowed nearby. Hans got up, upset. He said riding was no fun. It could break his neck. He liked the cow better. It provided milk, butter, and cheese. The shepherd traded the cow for the horse. He rode off where the path went over a hill. Hans led his cow away. He thought his trade was lucky. He guided it along a lane with apple orchards full of red fruit. The air smelled of ripe produce and fresh soil. At an inn with wooden walls and a thatched roof, smoke came from its chimney. Mountains stood in the distance. He ate his bread. He spent his last coin on beer at an oak table inside. Lanterns hung from beams. The floor creaked underfoot. Then he continued. He got thirsty in the heat. Open fields of golden barley stretched far. Heat waves rose above the ground. He tried milking the cow using his cap, but no milk came. It was dry. The cow kicked him. It knocked him unconscious onto the dry, cracked earth beside tufts of grass. A butcher with a pig in a wheelbarrow helped him up. This happened near a crossroads where carts left deep ruts in the soil. Wild vines climbed over fences. Hans explained what happened. The butcher said the cow was old. It was only good for meat. Hans said he preferred a pig for sausages. The butcher traded his pig for the cow. The pig squealed softly in the wooden wheelbarrow. Light glinted off its pink skin. Hans walked on with the pig. He felt everything was good. He led it through a valley where wildflowers bloomed along the banks of a shallow brook. Birds flitted between willow trees with drooping branches. He met a man carrying a fat white goose with fluffy feathers. They stood in a shaded spot under a large elm tree. Leaves rustled in the wind. They talked. Hans told of his trades. The man warned the pig might be stolen. It could get Hans in trouble. He offered to trade the goose for the pig to help. Hans agreed. He thought he got the better deal. He could have roast, fat, and feathers for a pillow. He took the goose under his arm. The path led toward a cluster of rooftops. In the next village, cobblestone streets lined timber-framed houses painted in whites and browns. Chimneys puffed smoke. Hans saw a man sharpening scissors on a wheel on a wooden cart in the central square. Market stalls had baskets of vegetables and bolts of cloth. Hans said his work looked great. The man asked about the goose. Hans explained his trades, back to the silver from 7 years' work. The man said to be a sharpener like him for money in his pocket. He offered a grindstone for the goose. Hans agreed. He lifted the heavy gray stone with its rough, circular surface. Hans took the stone and walked on. His heart felt light. The trail went through forests where oak and birch trees stood tall. Their trunks had moss. Fallen leaves crunched underfoot. But he got tired and hungry. At a river with clear water over smooth pebbles, banks lined with reeds and purple irises, he set the stone down to drink. He bumped it in by accident. It sank into the depths. Bubbles rose as it went under the current. Hans danced with joy. He thanked the sky for freeing him of the burden. His feet kicked up splashes along the shallow edge where small fish swam. With a light heart, he walked to his mom's house. It was a cozy cottage with a flower garden in front. Roses and daisies bloomed. Smoke rose from its stone chimney. He told her how easy his path to luck was.